Of all the major American sports, I think that NASCAR has to be one of the most crazy when it comes to moments and greatness. And with that, the pairing of great moments makes it that much more fun. With that, I'd say no other year encapsulates this quite like 2007. Literally going into the year, it'd be weird with the cars. NASCAR would split the year by having 16 races run with the new car of tomorrow, while running the other 20 with the Gen 4 car. While originally planning to do something similar on a smaller scale for 2008, this one ended up being the only year, a 2007 exclusive. Since the 1970s, there really hasn't been anything like this on this scale in NASCAR. So, for more casual viewers, they may see a completely different NASCAR week over week. Another story heading into 2007 out of the ordinary would be Dale Jr.'s struggle with Teresa Earnhardt and the team of Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, or DEI. Dale Jr.'s red number 8 Bud Chevy had become iconic, and the idea of Jr. running in anything other than that was just as foreign and alien to NASCAR fans as Jeff Gordon not being in the 24 car. Through the spring, the two sides had negotiations that went nowhere when it came to getting Jr. back, leading him to do the unthinkable and leave the team his father founded, only to do a more unthinkable thing by joining Hendrick Motorsports and becoming teammates with Earnhardt Nation's rival, Jeff Gordon. This led into a dismal end for Dale Jr.'s season, one that had fast runs marred by an ungodly amount of engine issues. So many that fans actually reasoned to believe that there was sabotage afoot from Teresa Earnhardt. As for the biggest week of the season, Speed Weeks, well, it had a crazy and cheating flair to it. The Budweiser shootout was electric, but the biggest story of the week was cheating. 5 teams were caught and penalized before the Thursday dual races. These included the 2003 champ Matt Kenseth, as well as all the Evernham drivers, Casey Kane, Scott Riggs, and Elliott Sadler. But the biggest of these would be by Michael Waltrip and his MWR team. The team was caught with an unknown substance added to their fuel. The AP reported that it was jet fuel, but later it was reported being closer to rocket fuel. The penalty for this was 100 driver and owner points and $100,000 from the Toyota team. Oh yeah, that's right. Michael Waltrip Racing was one of the first Toyota teams, as Toyota had entered the top level of NASCAR in 2007. To say that NASCAR fans were unhappy with this would be an understatement. They didn't like the idea of what they saw as a foreign manufacturer coming into their American sport, even though Toyota has more American workers than Dodge, Ford, and Chevy. But it was clear that they were in it for the long game, as while they were atrociously bad in year one, the groundwork of MWR and Team Red Bull was there for Toyota for the future. All of these stories either happened before the season or were overarching stories. But what about the races and the racing itself? Well, fittingly, the Daytona 500 kicked it all off. While starting slow, the madness took a foot after the leaders, Tony Stewart and Kurt Busch, crashed out together. Wreck after wreck led to a green-white checker finish, with none other than Mark Martin leading the way, trying to get his first Daytona 500. Would this be the moment he could finally break through? No.
It'll be a drag race all the way back to the start-finish line. No caution. They're side by side, right to the line. Big crash. Here they come. Checkered flag.
Mark Martin's first season as a part-time driver started in heartbreak in fitting fashion. But that's another weird aspect of 2007. Martin being part-time for Ginn Racing, a team that by the end of the year would be merged into DEI, as owner Bobby Ginn ran out of money that he didn't have. But still, it was odd seeing through all of this that in his part-time races, he had championship-level speed. Now, we talked about the COT earlier, but not about its debut. It was at Bristol, of all places, of course. And to NASCAR's credit, the racing and storylines with this car to start out with were actually not too bad, even if the fans found the car to be butt ugly. You had Busch versus Burton at Bristol. You had HMS's battle at Martinsville, and then Gordon reaching Earnhardt and wins at Phoenix. Yet, people took away only one thing from the COT, and it's what Kyle Busch said after his Bristol win.
I'm still not a very big fan of these things. I can't stand to drive them. They suck.
Even so, much like the COT, the airwaves were dominated by Hendrick. 18 of the 36 races were won by HMS. Even Casey Mears, a career underachiever, won the Coca-Cola 600 that year over J.J. Yaley and Kyle Petty of all people. And the big two of Gordon and Johnson, well, they killed it. Gordon having 30 top 10s in the season with 6 wins, one of the most consistent seasons ever seen in modern NASCAR, while JJ had 10 wins with 4 in a row coming in the revamped 12-man chase. More on that in a bit. Even Hendrick replacement drivers had big storylines in the season. At Texas, Kyle Busch and Dale Jr. crashed out together when avoiding a spinning Tony Stewart. The Bud machine ended up totaled, and Busch thought the same of his number 5 car and left the track. So, with no driver, the Kellogg's crew turned to Dale Jr. A move ending up being a big swing point for him to get him over to Hendrick Motorsports for 2008. Over the summer, things didn't slow down that much. First, of course, you had Dale Jr.'s penalty in the spring of 100 points at Darlington that ended up getting his crew chief, Tony Eury Jr., suspended, during which Eury was seen at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, helping call the race from a backstretch camper. NASCAR had no rule against it, so they took advantage of it. At Sonoma, we saw rookie Juan Pablo Montoya score his first win in NASCAR as well, and Daytona saw none other than Jamie McMurray win in a nail-biting close finish. But one of the biggest late-season stories was ESPN coming back to NASCAR. ABC and ESPN had partnered with NASCAR up until around the 2000 season, their last year in it. For the Busch Series, they had the entire full season. In Cup, though, they had the final 17 races. With the 2007 Brickyard 400 kicking it off, it honestly was a very strong showing on all fronts for the network. But due to deteriorating commentating, mistakes, and the network itself generally losing a care for NASCAR, the Brickyard applause quickly soured. Leading to the chase, the hottest hand was an unlikely Kurt Busch, who won twice and recovered from a penalty for this at Dover in spring. One of those wins being at Michigan, where the race was rained out and fogged out until Tuesday afternoon. A race that also had an ugly 57 Chevy tribute. This kind of delay wouldn't be outdone until 2020, when at the end of the playoff race at Texas, it was postponed to a Wednesday and also won by a Busch brother. But a big worry for Michigan was the next race at Bristol on a Saturday night. Having such a quick turnaround would be really tough for the teams, especially the number 31 team, who didn't have any sponsors, as Singular Wireless would basically be AT&T at that point. Due to the Cup Series being sponsored by Nextel, new wireless companies weren't allowed in, and they counted AT&T as this, even if they were basically the same company that Singular was. But with AT&T and Singular absorbing into each other, RCR argued that it was still grandfathered in like they had talked about before. After some corporate bullshit, AT&T was allowed to stay through 2008, but for a few weeks, Jeff Burton drove an empty orange number 31 Chevy. But with this, the chase started, with Clint Bowyer getting his first career win at New Hampshire. And at Kansas, for a moment it seemed like win number 2 was on the way. The race was pretty much a shit show all day. Rain delayed the race multiple times, and with Kansas Speedway not having any lights, NASCAR had to shorten the race multiple times as well to fit the TV window. After switching channels and basically having the field destroyed with wrecks, it would be ending under caution with Greg Biffle puttering to the win. Coming to line, Biffle clearly runs out of fuel, losing speed, causing a BS controversy where NASCAR cut corners with officiating and just gave Biffle the win, even though it was clear as day he didn't follow the rules to get there. But to end the season, though, none of it mattered. The last 7 races were all about Gordon and Johnson. Gordon had the early momentum and points lead in the first half of the chase, but Johnson's 4 straight wins in the last 5 races landed him the championship. Over the years, this has turned into a big controversy for a lot of old school fans, and is kind of fitting for a great, weird, and just wonky 2007 season. But with that, I'm going to pass it on to you. What is your favorite NASCAR season? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel for more great NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support, and until next time, have a good one.